Hello everyone, my name is BuddyBear83, and today we are starting a new visual novel called The Resort. If you remember from the first episode of Edenbound, I said there was a VN that I wanted to play on the channel, but I couldn't yet since it just wasn't out on what I play on, or should I say game on. That's why I played Edenbound. But since it's now on the device I'm playing, I can finally start. And I'm so excited. I immediately wanted to play this after I started Password, but after a long wait, it's finally going to be worth it. Oh, I forgot to say, happy spooky month, everyone. I know we are like halfway through the month, but let's make this count. Start game. Oh, it's one of those kind of VNs. Honestly, that's fine. Let's do it. The following is a work in progress. The following in a work of progress, as this is only a demo for the time being. Okay. There are things that have not yet been implanted in the game just yet, and everything's subject to change. This game contains subject matters that some individuals may find offensive or disturbing, and focuses on male characters. By playing and continuing beyond this point, you acknowledge that you are at least 18 years of age. Feedback is welcomed. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And also entry. Important. Please don't redistribute this without my permission. Oh, one more thing. Before we continue on, I wanted to say, this video is to dedicate my friend's mom, who unfortunately passed away. You might know him on Twitter. He goes by Furry Paw Claws, and he recently lost his mother this year. So this video is dedicated to his mother, and he gave me permission to say this. So thank you, Gio, and I hope you enjoy this video. Why is today so boring? I laid back in my bed and my eyes were looking up at the ceiling, noticing every little detail of marks and smudges I could see done by things I threw up and hid it. The natural light of the sun shines through my window, and I could clearly hear the noises from distant vehicles passing by. Oh, is this our main character? He's actually pretty cute, actually. Yeah, he's pretty cute, actually. Wow. Man, I'm a mess. The first thing I noticed was my uneven hair. Just me having laid back on the pillows for a while. I made a quick fix of it, taking note of it going smoothly around my horns. Being a goat has the benefits of having a real tough head to crack, but still gotta take care of not looking like a washed up drunk. My belly, that's something I could take care of, as I poke it, and it wiggles like gelatin. Oh well, I'm not particularly ashamed of it, I actually like it. It has a bit of pudge on it, but it is not unpleasant at all. I feel good. Not gonna do much as usual. Time for some TV! I walked into the fresh feeling of a new room where the TV was, and flopped onto the couch. I grabbed the TV remote and flicked it on, surfing through the channels aimlessly and finding nothing but uninteresting shows. and one advertisement after another. Really? Why can't I find anything interesting? As if on cue, I hear the sudden footsteps approaching my door. Unsurprisingly, my dad walked in with a smirk on his face and looking over my room, and obviously noticing the mess there, with me being still as lazy. Oh my god, first password? Now this? We got another Orlando? Okay. Dad voice.
You're gonna be in here all day again?
Nice to see you too, Dad. My sarcasm was noticeable, but by now I learned this was a route between the two of us.
Are you gonna spend all your summer here?
Is there a problem with that?
If you plan to become a hermit, and a shut-in, that is, come on, go out for a while and get some fresh air. You're bound to find something.
Wow, Dad, it's not like I actually spend a whole time on classes and studying hard, you know? I sat up and sighed. I knew Dad was persistent and didn't like me sitting around all day. And as much as I despised his nagging, I knew what he meant was for the better of me. I just didn't have the whole motivation to do something else at the moment. It's only been a few days since college ended. I'll be fine. I got all the time in the world.
You say that. But before you know it, summer will be over.
His familiar smirk showed after, and I knew he had something planned up for me. My eyes looked at him, expecting to be asked to do a chore or activity.
And speaking of over, well, someone came over and they are looking for you.
I gave him a confused look, but who would be asking for me? Dad turns around and calls out to them.
Come on up.
I hear the quick footsteps of the stairs becoming louder, and that someone soon shows up at my door. Who are you? I'm guessing this is the childhood best friend. It's just a guess. I don't know what voice to give him. Hey! 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 Hey, bestie! I guess we'll go with that for now. Hey, bestie! Come on and give me a hug, you big bastard!
Anthony?
The person coming over to see me was very familiar. In fact, I would consider them my friend, my best friend. Okay, best friend. I noticed the dark fur and violent eyes I'd instantly recognize about him. It's been long since I've last seen you. I quickly stood up without a second thought and jumped at him into a bear hug. He returned the same treatment and put his arms tightly around him. Of all the things I recalled, this was the best thing I could get from him. After the hug, we sat on the bed as I invited Anthony in, with my dad leaving the room and giving us space as he closed the doors. Wait a minute. Why didn't you and your dad leave on a trip? What are you doing here? Oh, wait. Oh, wait, that's me. Let me try that again. Wait a minute. Didn't you and your dad leave on a trip? What are you doing here? Well, that was the original plan, but something came up last minute at his job. Oh, that sucks. Anthony shrugs it off, making a smile at his reaction. Yeah, I was hoping that we'd go out this year. We haven't had the chance to go out together as of late. Well, there's always next time. Anthony seemed disappointed, but he quickly changed to a more eager expression soon after, as if he just remembered something. Wait a minute. If his dad and him aren't going out, and him being there, that means he is planning something with me, isn't he? That's why he is here. A smile like that from Anthony doesn't just spring out of nowhere like my dad. Well, did anything else happen? Oh, sorry. Well, did anything else happen? Well... He put his hands on his thighs, rubbing them and getting prepared for what he had to say. After what happened, my dad apologized and said if I have a friend, I could go along with for an adventure. Do you want to go? I kept my doubtful stare at him, just wanting to know what he was talking about. Depends on what you can define as adventure. He smiled shamelessly, shuffling through his pants pockets and pulled out 2 pieces of paper. His excitement rose as he shook through those pieces of paper in his hand, continuing with his reply. A good friend of my dad gifted us these 2 tickets to go to a resort he owns, the Celestial Court. He was covering most of the 2 papers, revealing them to be tickets to the place he mentioned. And the best part, we get to stay there for an entire month! All expenses paid. How cool is that? Anthony was practically at the edge of exploding with excitement. Bouncing lightly for now, my ears couldn't believe what I just heard. Wait, seriously? Your father was just gifted those tickets like that? I crossed my arms in suspicion, doubting the power behind those tickets. Come on, what's the catch, Anthony? I know, you're suspicious about it. Anthony smiled with a reassuring look, and I scoffed at him. He rolled his eyes as he continued. Obviously, my dad had called the owner to confirm that they are indeed legit. There wasn't much detailed in the letter he received, but I'm sure we can confirm once we get there. I held my own tongue, signing away a refute. He seemed far too excited for this. But I shouldn't crush his spirit aside from the fact that I already have decided not to go. Well, I have things to do, so... So? Like what? He gestured loosely in my room. He was waiting for an answer. I knew I wasn't going to be all that convincing. Is becoming a is becoming a couch potato one of them? I held back a reassuring yes, and my face turned a bright red. Wait. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I was reading that correctly. And I was. I looked away momentarily in embarrassment, looking back and not having any counters to my poor suggestion. I slided and turned my gaze back to him. Rolling my eyes, he was laughing at my response. Of course, anything he'd have say would be right. Oh, come on. Come with me, please. I don't want to go alone. I mean, we can at least have each other, right? So, you have no one else to go with? Anthony shrugged and shook his head. I closed my arms, still unconvinced at my notion. His face gave a playful grin. I raised a brow, wondering what his new plan was. I mean, I have other ways to convince you. What do you... Oh no. I made the mistake of letting my guard down when I released my arms from my chest. Anthony immediately charged at me and landed with me on the bed, pinning me down. His hands moved to my vulnerable stomach and brought me down to a laughing fit. He was always faster and stronger than me. Anthony's advantage in species put him above a level of my own. Thus, I always ended up pinned under him, whether we ended up like this. Anthony was laughing himself as well, for some reason, and we were both laughing together through the assaultment on my body. Soon, however, he was staring to exhaust himself enough for me to turn the tables around and flip us both over, and I retailed with my own tickle war against Anthony. This back and forth until we were both out of breath and ended laying on each other's side. So, Anthony started, sounding exhausted. He was staring at the ceiling for a moment before he turned to me. Convinced yet? I groaned at him, smiling at his perseverance. You didn't enjoy that? No, I did not. It was pretty much all I could say, but I'll be lying if I said I wasn't smiling because of it. You know, you're an awful liar, I can tell. I quickly jabbed at him, although lightly, and he lazily returned the same witless, smirking at each other. I shouldn't like this more than I am doing right now. My face flushed red, getting a strange feeling tingling all across my body. That one feeling when you're enjoying something with your best friend. It was strange, especially since I was only a few inches away from Anthony. But yeah, it's a free trip. Going there really shouldn't hurt at all. As he said those last words, I frowned for a moment before sighing. I contemplated for a moment before finally nodding. I'll swallow my lazy pride for now, so that will be a yes. Took you long enough. It's going to be an exciting boat ride, I promise. It's great to be able to see that place again. Wait, again? You've been there before? Anthony shrugs in response. Only a few times, really. There was even a family reunion at some point about it. He mumbled something in between his words before continuing his response, directing his eyes away from mine to think. For a moment, I could only assume he was trying to remember. 7 years ago. Huh, that's cool. So, when do we have to leave for this trip? In a few hours. Wait, what? I stopped moving for a couple of seconds, just processing what Anthony said. What? It'll also be a perfect chance for you to take... It'll also be a perfect chance for you to make new friends. I'll ignore the fact he sprang this on me alone last minute. What's that supposed to mean, Anthony? Do I not have any friends? I'm just saying, while I like our friendship, having more than one friend is also a nice feature to have. Ouch. No need to rub it in. But why would I ever need more than just my best friend? I'm sorry. Oh my god, you are blushing! You are blushing! Anthony grins at that answer. He then does that familiar smirk, and I swear I did see that short blush on his face. Yep. You can't really expect me to be the only friend. What would happen if I was off on a long trip all by myself? You might get bored or become a loner. I shrugged at that remark, despite my ego being hit pretty hard on how true his words were being. Anthony gets up from the stretch of his arms. Cool. So, I can wait for you to pack your necessary things, right? Right, it's not like you put this on me so suddenly, and only have a few hours to prepare. Anthony noticed my mood at being put into this situation so suddenly, and he scoffed at me. Alright, Mr. Pouty Face, I'll help you pack. I couldn't hold back my smile, despite Anthony's sarcastic remarks. He reached out and helped me back up to my feet before realizing the entire mess in my room. Right, time to pack. After the uneventful boat ride later, we finally arrived at the Silicult Isla. I'm gonna have to look up these words later. We carefully hopped off the boat, waving at the captain who safely plotted us here. So, the panther added while waving up to just a few feet from me, waving his arms in the air as if showing off. Welcome to Chilla Rote Isla. I know it's your first time here, but thoughts? I took a moment to study my surroundings, taking in the immediate atmosphere. The docks were a little crowded, with its people going about their day. That, along with how beautiful everything looked, made this seem like a nice place to be in. It looks nice. Anthony seemed like he wanted to comment on my bland phrasing, but he refrained. Of course it's nice. There's quite a bit to go to see here and do. Well, Wait. Oh. Well, we're gonna have time to go anywhere that's important, right? The panther nodded, waving a hand to a taxi that drove conveniently nearby. We got inside, and Anthony told the driver where we were going, and began to head to the resort. Are we there yet? The driver remained silent, leaving me to answer in her stead. No, Anthony, you haven't stopped talking about that place since we left my house. You are that excited? Anthony shot me a playful, annoyed stare before he turned to stare out the window into the open sea. The water looked stunning with the setting sun. Of course I am. I haven't been there in years. It's gonna be nice getting to see what I missed. Who's the owner, by the way? Anthony shifted his gaze back towards me. All right, I haven't told you about it. Hans is the owner. He trailed off a resistant smile that oozes all over his face. Before I could even ask further, he continued. And the kindest lion you'll ever meet. Ooh, okay. I bit my tongue, smiling at the panther. Looks like him and the lion seem to be really good friends. I'll take your word for it. After that, we came to a stop in front of the resort at last. We paid our fare and quickly left, luggage in tow. Whoa. This is a nice place. I wish I could go to these sort of places. Anthony would have been running for the resort if he didn't have things to carry. I chuckled to myself at the realization. Wow! Finally, here we are! I took a moment to lazily inspect the building. At first glance, it was extremely impressive. That sleek design and illumination gave it a rather fancy appearance. It already looked like a fun place to stay at, so maybe this won't be so bad after all. It looks okay, from the outside at least. The panther chuckled at my comments, seemingly just brushing away from it. Well, wait till you see the inside. My dad and I used to have so much fun when we came here. Well, it's a shame he wasn't able to come with you today. Anthony turned to me and winked before he kept his space. He'll come sometime. I just know it. I refrained from prying further in his optimism, only politely nodding and smiling in response. I don't think his dad will come, but I decided to keep his comment to myself. But anyways, let's go in and meet Hans. He's expecting us soon. We entered by the front doors, making a beeline for the reception desk. Whoa! Fancy up in here. but I soon discovered there was no one around. In fact, it was strangely quiet for being a resort. No one's around. Is this normal? No. No. Where is?
Hello there. You two have arrived on a moment too soon.
We looked around, trying to find where the source of the voice was coming from. A busky lion man was standing a short distance. Anthony smiling upon seeing him and heading over to greet him with a hug. Wow, it's good to see you again, Hans.
Holy shit. Please tell me you're gonna be a dateable route. Please tell me you're gonna be a dateable route.
My God, you are beautiful.
Hans smiled back, reciprocating Anthony's greeting and chuckling up on it.
Okay, what voice should I give him? What voice should I give him?
Likewise.
I think we'll go with that for now.
Likewise, I never leave this old gem of a place, not until death do us part.
Hans then looked at me and gave me a short tilt with his head. I think he was checking to see if I am what Anthony has described me as.
I assume this to be Nathan. A pleasure to finally meet you.
Anthony nodded, and I was starting to feel the red of my face gradually rise from my chin to my forehead. Yep, I managed to convince him to come in a very special way of mine. Hans just chuckled in response. I would be mad if my face wasn't so red from embarrassment. Both seemed to laugh it off, though, so I let it slide. Hans then offers me a handshake, and I reciprocate. His grip is very firm. I can tell he obviously works out. I'm slightly jealous.
Excellent. It's nice to meet you, Nathan. I'm always happy to see new faces around here.
Same. Nice to meet you, Hans. The lion's expression flattered a bit after he gave a small sigh. Was it something I said?
Pardon me, I do wish more people would come around here more.
Is business not doing good? Hans shrugged. He seemed to be more chilled than disappointed, as if he sort of expected this.
Decently, I support, but lately the people who actually visit are the ones who are interestingly invested into the cult.
The what? No, that's weird. What is that supposed to mean? Is this place haunted or something? Ooh! Definitely a perfect time for spooky month. Anthony put his hand on his hip, contemplating the fact. Really? Never heard of folks like those coming to a place like this. Hans nodded in agreement, crossing his arms.
I was surprised as well, honestly, but not sure why that is. Oh, wait! I do remember talking to one of their members, apparently. There is supernatural energy roaming around here, and it is pretty strong.
Okay. Should we be concerned about that, though?
I really doubt it, but I guess anything's possible, right? I remember my dad talking.
Oh, wait. Whoops. I really doubt it. But I guess anything's possible, right? I remember my dad talking about hearing some stories of them doing things here.
Speaking of, I'm sorry he couldn't make it this time.
It's cool. He told me to send his regards to you.
How kind of him. But anyway, you two came just in time.
Hans clasped his hands together as if preparing for theatrical introduction. Something about the way he did it took me by surprise. Wait, just in time for what? Oh no. Are we about to get murdered in a hotel or something? Okay. Wee, 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 wee.
Follow me, please. You're totally not gonna get murdered.
What was that?
Nothing.
Wordlessly, Hans turned around and began to walk through the hallways. Anthony swiftly followed through, and all that was left was me. Damn peer pressure. I got no choice here. What is this? I'm sorry, is this? Wow. Okay. Okay. Hans, Anthony, and I arrived in the other room, and it was definitely decorated to host a party. There were several other people here as well, scattered around the area. Is there a party going on? Hi.
A welcoming party, also serving as an anniversary celebration for the staff.
Aw, that's awfully nice of you to do. Oh, wait. That's awfully nice of you to do. I agree to it. Happy to know Hans is nice enough to do something like this. Good works needs to be rewarded too. I recognize some people here. I'll go talk to them, okay? Before I could conjure any sort of response, Anthony had already shot me a thumbs up and quickly walked away. I held back a sigh and turned to Hans, who stood there patiently. So, how many people accepted the invite? Hans thought for a moment.
Around 50, give or take.
Now, this is a decent account of people you were able to invite. Hans smiled at my compliment. At least I think he was.
Thank you. Couldn't have a celebration without a handful of folks. I'm sure you can find people here to mingle with.
No, I want you. I want you, Hans. Hans raised a hand and pointed to some of the members of the party.
Dylan, Rufus, Gordon, and Coburn.
He lowered his hand, giving me a small nod.
You should talk to them and find new friends, like your already best one has said before.
Hans chuckled, and I bit my lip. Instead of gazing at the people, he pointed to them empty-mindedly. Well, I didn't need someone to lecture me about having friends, but it is probably nothing worth fawning over, though. I'm already here, after all.
Well, I'll be over there, tending to the food. Call me if you need anything, Nathan. Okay?
Are you single? We both gave small waves, and as he walked away to do as he said. To be honest, I was a little nervous. I have obviously never been to many parties. Anthony always tried to drag me to several of them. I guess this is the only time where I accepted an invitation to one. Well, I guess it's time to mingle. Who should I go with? Oh. Well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to leave this first episode here. This is a really good start so far, and I cannot wait to continue more. But before I leave, let's see who we have. We have Party Tanuki, a smug horse, a buff rhino, or a mellow walrus. Ooh. Out of all these 4 so far, I kind of want to know who the mellow walrus is first. So we will do... Well, I don't know if this is where the routes start, but we are at least going to meet him first in the next episode. I want to thank you all for watching this first episode of The Resort. I cannot wait to start the series finally. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell. This was Buddy Bear 83 signing off. And I want to give a shout out to Furry Paw Claws one more time. Rest in peace for his mother. Bye.